Hello, hello, everyone. How are you? I'm just about to get started here. As always, I'll wait to make sure that everything is working the way it's supposed to. I think it is. I think we're doing fine. Just 1 second here. A rare occurrence here. I'm going to yell at Jen, not in a bad way. 1 sec. Hey, Jen, can you get me a cup of water? I have forgotten to have a big I forgot to get a big cup of water. So Jen is getting that for me. So I really appreciate that. Um, she'll be here in just a moment. I should say hi to a few people while I'm waiting. Hi to Freddie Wolf, Mode Eggs, Know That, Burgett, Uliana, Aerosmith 77, 747 Flair, Cy Sandy, Hafiez, Mode Eggs. I'm saying hi to. If you get a double hi, it doesn't mean I like you more. It just means I'm forgetful. Hi to Key Park, Unabi, Gassi, News, Pedro. Thanks, Jen. And Nightbot's here to help moderate the chat, so that's nice as well. But hey, let me just double check once more to make sure that everything is working. Good, everything is working, so I can get this lesson started. Here we go. Well, hello and welcome to this English lesson about the outside of things. Now, quite often, I think I'm bad at naming lessons because it makes it sound like some obscure lesson where I'm going to teach you words that aren't important, but these are important words. There are 24 very common English words that I'm going to teach you. So even though I'm not necessarily great at making amazing thumbnails or even giving my lessons good titles, this is, I think, a very important lesson if you are learning English. I'll talk about things like packaging, coatings, jackets, covers, breading, wrappers, peels, shells, husks, and all of those types of things. So very common words that we use as we're speaking English through the week. If you're wondering what the reason for this lesson was, it was because I saw a chocolate bar wrapper, or a candy bar wrapper is what you might call it, on the sidewalk the other day. And I thought, have I taught the word wrapper? So anyways, once again, welcome to this English lesson about the outside of things. Well, hey, hi everybody. A couple things before we get started. I'll keep saying hi to people, but I think I said hi to almost everybody. Kushi Kumari, I said I'm going to say hi to. I think I said hi to Unabi, but I might be thinking wrong. No, that says, currently I constantly have to refresh my screen because the live stream doesn't start automatically after the timer ends. Is this happening to anyone else? That has happened to me on my test feed every once in a while for the last month. Today, it started fine, but I have had to do that every once in a while. And that's new. That used to not happen. Before July, that didn't happen. Hello to Burgett and Unabi. What was I going to say? Hey, you're here and watching at 8:32 a.m. on August 28th, 2026. This is live. So I see you in the chat. Hafia says, I think for desktop, laptop users, people need to refresh. Using laptop and TV, needed to refresh my laptop, not needing to refresh my TV. Makes it sound like Hafiez is watching me on like 5 devices in his house or apartment. Freddie says, I've already put the thumbs up. Have you done it as well? Thanks for the reminder. If you could give me a thumbs up early on in the live lesson, it helps to bring more people to the lesson. Good morning to Christian as well. Good to see you there. A few things before we get started. If you have a question, please use the link that is pinned in the comments to ask that question, or in the description below. It will send the question to a form, and I will stop at certain points during the lesson and answer your questions. Please don't use the chat to ask me questions, but please use the chat to have fun and enjoyable conversations with the other people in the chat. If you are a member, though, I do tend to glance over every once in a while and answer questions in the chat. Freddie says, Bob, how was your back to school first day? I have not been back yet. I start on Tuesday of next week with meetings, and then the week after. I think I might have misspoke a week ago because more than one of you, I think, thought I was already back at work. But yeah, I start this week with meetings, and students don't come back until I think it's September 8th this year. Yes. Hafiz, yeah, I used the laptop for typing. My TV seems to have faster connection. Nice. There you go. Okay. I think that's all I usually talk about. Let's get this lesson started. Here we go. Wrapper, a piece of material that covers and protects something. So it's hard to read what type of chocolate bar this is. By the way, we call them chocolate bars. I think in some parts of the world, people call them candy bars. And here is your example sentence. I took the wrapper off the chocolate bar. So many things that you buy, in particular things that you eat as snacks quickly, usually have a wrapper. It might be a candy with a candy wrapper. It might be a chocolate bar with a chocolate bar wrapper. So notice how we define the type of wrapper by what it is around. Now, we wouldn't use this to talk about a bag of chips or what you might call crisps, I think, in the UK. We would then say it's a bag. But if you buy a chocolate bar, if you buy sometimes you can buy donuts that have a wrapper. Don't buy those though, because they were made a few days before. But anyways, a wrapper, a piece of material that covers and protects something. A peel, you are probably familiar with this one. It's the outer skin of some fruits and vegetables. If you wonder why it says some fruits and vegetables, we are going to talk about skin, rind, and shell and husk in a bit. But if you have ever eaten a banana, you can't eat the peel. Actually, I think you can eat the peel. You don't want to eat the peel. The peel doesn't taste very good. So you will peel the banana. Notice now it has become a verb. I can peel my banana. To peel means to take off the peel. And then I can eat my banana, and then I can put the banana peel in the compost. So, example sentence, I threw the banana peel and the potato peels in the compost. So as well, if you eat potatoes, often they have a peel, and you will use a potato peeler to peel the potato. Once again, though, peel, the outer skin of some fruits and vegetables. For example, a banana. My favorite thing to eat every day, one banana. Skin, the thin outer layer of some fruits and vegetables. Now, I do think that when you talk about the skin, it usually means that it's edible. So, for instance, you would not eat a banana peel, but you can eat the skin of a grape. You can eat the skin of an apple. By the way, with apple, I think we use skin or peel. Apple peels, apple skin, yeah. But grapes, I would say skin. The grapes were hard to bite into because the skin was tough. So here you see the picture of a grape. The inside of the grape is very tasty and yummy. The outside skin can be a little bitter, and it sometimes, if the grapes aren't really ripe, can be hard to bite into. But skin, the thin outer layer of some fruits and vegetables. Rind, the thick outer skin of some fruits. Don't eat the watermelon or cantaloupe rind. So if you have ever had watermelon, it is tasty. It is sweet because I think there's a lot of sugar in the watermelon. Watermelon Sugar, which is a song by one of the One Direction boys whose name I can't remember, but maybe one of you can shout it out. But rind, the thick outer skin of some fruits. So we have cantaloupe, we have watermelon. There are a number of different types of melon, and we almost always refer to the outside of the melon as the rind. And I think you can eat, I wouldn't eat the green part, but I actually don't mind eating some of the white part of the watermelon rind. But don't eat the watermelon or cantaloupe rind. Is that hard to say? Rind. That you do say the D just a little bit at the end. Shell, the hard outer covering of an egg or nut. So you can see here, I had a hard time cracking the peanut shells. So you see here, the smaller inner part is the peanut itself. That's the part you can eat. And then the other outer part is the peanut shell. And there are actually some restaurants in the United States, I don't know if we have them in Canada, where people eat peanuts and they put the peanut shells on the floor. And then at the end of the night, there's just peanut shells everywhere. I've been to two places like that. I didn't really enjoy it. I like my floor to be clean and to not have any peanut shells on it. But anyways, shell, the hard outer covering of an egg or nut. And then husk. So there are two things I can think of when I talk about husk: the dry outer covering of some plants, seeds, or vegetables. On the far side, you have what we call sweet corn. There are two kinds of corn in the world. There's cow corn and sweet corn, or feed corn and sweet corn. Sweet corn is the corn that people eat, but you have to take the husk off. You can't eat the corn husk. And then also you have coconuts. So here's your example sentences. We removed the husk from the corn, or the coconut husk was very thick. So husk, the dry outer covering of some plants, seeds, or vegetables. Just checking my time here. Crust, the hard outer part of bread or some other foods. You can see in the picture here, this person has decided to cut off the crusts. Some people do this. I personally think it's a waste of food, unless maybe you're feeding the crusts to your dog or cat. And down here we have the example sentences. I don't like the bread crust, or the crust was the best part of the pizza. So again, the hard outer part of bread or some other foods. When you bake bread, the outer part of the bread gets hard and the inner part stays soft and yummy to eat. And some people don't like that outer part. When I eat certain types of bread, though, I love the crust. Like sourdough bread, I like having a really good crust. And I do actually like the crust on the pizza, which refers to the entire bottom bready portion of the pizza, but also just the end or the outside of the circle where there's no sauce or cheese. We use the word crust to talk about both of those. So sometimes one of my kids doesn't eat the crust. Like they eat the whole slice of pizza except the little crust, and then I eat the crust because I do enjoy them. Hey, let's do some questions. Hi to Brent, who's here. Good to see you, Brent. Let me scroll back here. A lot of people saying hello to each other. I love it. That's very good. Mode says, when I saw rind, cheese was the first thing that came to mind. The Frenchies have some rules about la croûte de fromage. Yes, cheese can also have a rind on it. Very good. Pedro says, grapes taste so good that eventually you eat the whole fruit. You do. And you are correct. Harry Styles was the watermelon sugar guy. Good guess in the chat. Okay, let me look at some questions. Hafia says, I like the crust. Some don't like due to the carbs. Yes, then you should just eat thin crust pizza. That way you still get some crust. Or Unsel, hello, Mr. Bob. Can every outer layer noun be turned into a verb to mean removing or adding that layer, or are there limitations? Thanks a lot. You're awesome. So you can wrap a chocolate bar, but that isn't, you would probably package it. You can peel a banana. You can skin a grape. Rind does not work as a verb. You can shell a peanut, and you can husk corn, sweet corn. Yes. So those, except for wrapper and rind, peel, skin, shell, and husk all work as verbs. Crust does not work as a verb. Okay. So I guess there are definitely some rules to go along with it. Know that. Hello, Bob. Could you pronounce the word carapace? And is it a commonly used term when describing the outside of something? Thanks a lot, Bob. No, we usually say shell. Like the crab had a really tough shell. The turtle has a tough shell. There's an oyster there too, the oyster shell. And some people say carapace. I say carapace. I think that's the pronunciation in the US and in the UK. But the word is not common enough for me to be sure. Okay, I'm pretty sure it's carapace, but not a commonly used word at all. Unsel, what word do we use for the hard outer layer that forms over a wound? And how do we describe that process? Thanks a lot. You're awesome. Bye. So when you have a wound, eventually you will have a scab that forms. A scab is like, it kind of looks like dried blood a little bit. And sometimes people scratch their scabs off and then something starts bleeding again. And the process we would just call to scab over. Like I cut my wrist and now I'm waiting for it to scab over. And you would just call it the healing process, the whole process of it going from an injury to being completely healed. Let's see here. In the chat, Mode says, it's always funny to me that pizza dough becomes pizza crust. The name changes when it comes out of the oven. Yes, it definitely does. Oh, Brent's watching it with students. Brent, you're in class already. Yes. Not to, there are some differences between Canada and the United States. Brent's done his school year sooner than I am, though, by a couple weeks, I think. So, okay. Let me get another question on the screen. Which is your favorite chocolate? Right now, so it changes, but right now I like dark chocolate with almonds or dark chocolate with hazelnuts. Those are my two favorites. And if not, my third would be dark chocolate. 70% dark chocolate I like. From Judith. Hi, Bob. How important is the outside of things to you? Like the emperor's new clothes. Thanks. So if you don't know what the emperor's new clothes are, it's kind of a telling story because it's the story of an emperor who doesn't wear any clothes, but everyone congratulates him on his new outfit. I think it's an interesting and telling story. Let's see here. The emperor's new clothes. And sorry, I'm just doing a little search here. There are some interesting parallels between the emperor's new clothes and a current world leader. There you go. Anyways, so the emperor's persuaded that his new clothes are invisible, but in reality, he is wearing nothing. So there you go. You guys can read that story at some point. How important is the outside of things when it comes to clothing? Very, very important. From Christian, US, candy bar, UK and Canada, chocolate bar, Australia, chalky bar. Very cool. Thanks for that info. Afia says, oh, it's been a while since I heard the Emperor's New Clothes story. Wonder if the kids nowadays know that story. Yeah, I hadn't thought of it for a while. So Judith Aerosmith77, thanks for the question and the reminder. Brent says, yeah, I get out in the middle of June. I think Bob has to go until nearly the end of June. Yeah, this school year we have lengthened classes, so we can be done by June. I believe it's June 20th this year. If we didn't do that, we wouldn't be done until June. Grad would be June 30th if we didn't lengthen classes. So that's what we did so that we have a nicer year. Takagero. Hello, dear Teacher Bob. Is it usual in Canada to buy goods in modified atmosphere packaging, or is it more usual to buy fresh ones? So if you're talking about fruits and vegetables, cucumbers are always wrapped in plastic, or they come in a plastic bag. Tomatoes are not. Carrots can come in a plastic bag or outside of a plastic bag. It really depends on the fruit or vegetable. You can almost always buy any fruit or vegetable one at a time and you pay by weight. But if you're buying in quantity, it will more often be in a container or bag. Baby spinach comes in a container. Carrots come in a bag. Cucumbers come wrapped in plastic. Bananas don't. Bananas, you just buy a bunch of bananas. So it would be, you would need to just visit a grocery store to see. Judith, hi Bob. When can the outer part of the things be more important than the inside? Thank you. I don't know. I think the opposite is sometimes more true. If you buy an Easter bunny made of chocolate, sometimes it's just air inside. So the inside is far less important. But yes, I think it really depends on the item. From Unabi, most retailers ask us to keep the box from purchases in order to save warranty. Do you have the same problem? Where in the world would we should store all of this cardboard? So a few fixes there, Unabi. I keep boxes for any electronics I buy for usually a month or two, sometimes 3 before I recycle the box. If you don't believe me, there's a box right here beside my desk. because I bought this battery station, this portable power station, and I still have the box. I think I should probably recycle it, but yeah, where do you keep it all? I guess I keep it all laying around my desk. Gonna have to check something here before let me get the next question on the screen. And then, even though I speak French, a corn roast. Oh, there we go. Sylvan, how do you say épluchette de blé d'Inde in English? I think I said that right. So a corn roast. You can wrap corn in foil and throw it on a fire, sweet corn, and then it's really yummy. Most people will boil sweet corn in order to eat it. Some people will steam it in the husk. But a corn roast is certainly a fun thing to go to. You can also barbecue sweet corn in the husk on a barbecue. Very fun to do. And yummy. Abdurrahman, can you explain the difference between crust, peel, and coating when talking about the outside of food? So again, a peel is usually like a banana peel, a potato peel. I think peel usually refers to something that you don't eat and that you remove from the fruit or vegetable before you eat it. So you can peel an orange and it has an orange peel. You can peel a banana and it has a banana peel. You can peel a potato. Crust usually refers to something that is baked, like bread, pizza, pie. All of those have a crust. An empanada has a crust. And then coating is usually more like chicken can have a coating. A chair can have a coating, a protective coating. I'll talk about coating a bit more later. But yes, thanks for the question. Let me have a sip of water and then we will get back to the lesson. John Wedge, I'm thinking about buying a power station as well. It's very handy when we have a power outage. Actually, I took the one that came in that box to my sister's house 3 weeks ago because her power went out and the pump that keeps her basement dry wouldn't run. So her basement was going to flood and we avoided it by hooking up my power station. It was very good. Okay, back to the lesson. Here we go. Bark. The sound a dog makes. No, sorry. Some words have two meanings. Bark, the hard outer covering of a tree. This is a very specific word. The bark protects the tree. We don't really use bark to describe anything else, except that's not true. You can buy almond bark, which is actually flat chocolate with almonds in it. We call it almond bark, probably because it looks like tree bark. But generally, bark is used to refer to the hard outer covering of a tree. Maple trees have a really nice and interesting bark. It's nice to look at. Coating. So here we go. A thin layer of material that covers something. So you see here I have a peanut M&M and a Teflon frying pan. The peanut has a chocolate coating, and I think it actually has a candy coating outside the chocolate coating. And the frying pan has a non-stick Teflon coating. Let's see if we can make this one bigger. No, it goes off the screen then. So a coating, a thin layer of some kind of material that covers something. You can use this to talk about food. You can batter fish, but you can also call it a coating. Like the fish had a breadcrumb coating. But things like chocolate-covered peanuts, chocolate-covered almonds have a coating around them. And then Teflon is interesting. It allows the frying pan to be non-stick. And the Teflon coating doesn't last forever. So I always wonder, where does the Teflon go over the years of using a frying pan like that? Anyways, coating, a thin layer of material that covers something. Finish, the final outer surface or coating on something. The chair has a smooth finish. So you can see here we use the word coating to talk about the word finish. So here you see that they're putting probably some kind of urethane or polyurethane or some kind of coating or finish to protect the chair. This is very common when you make something out of wood. You make something out of wood, and then often you will stain it so it's darker or looks different. And then you will quite often put a finish on it so it looks shiny and smooth. So finish, the final outer surface or coating on something. Packaging. So we kind of talked about this a little bit. Packaging is the material around a product that protects or contains it. I removed the earbuds from the packaging to charge them for the first time. So here you see a whole, there's like a box and then another inner box, and then it's just a lot of packaging. This is one of the things that sometimes I don't like. If packaging isn't recyclable, or if there's too much packaging, it kind of annoys me. I believe in minimal packaging. In fact, when you order now from some online places, you can choose to not have any packaging or to have it shipped in a recyclable paper bag. That's usually what I choose. Packaging, the material around a product that protects or contains it. Exterior. So this is a general word used to refer to the outside part or surface of something. The exterior of the house is made of brick. The exterior of the building is made of wood. The exterior of the crate was made out of wood. Let's see, like if I was talking about these headphones, I could say, well, the exterior of this part is made of fake leather. Faux leather, fake leather. So the exterior of my phone is made of aluminum, titanium, probably just plastic. Anyways, exterior, a general term to refer to the outside part or surface of something. Hull, the main outer body of a boat or ship, or the outer part of some seeds. The hull of the boat needs to be repaired, and you can see in the picture over there, the hull is the outer part, kind of the bottom part of the boat. And then here we have the sunflower hulls are on the floor. So a sunflower seed is actually two parts. There's the hull, and then inside there's the actual seed. So hull, the main outer body of a boat or ship, or the outer part of some seeds. Pod, two peas in a pod. Sorry, I'll tell you what that means in a sec. A pod is a long outer case that contains seeds. She opened the pod and took out the peas. So here you see we have peas. Peas again have two parts. There's the pod, and inside are the actual peas. So if you want to eat peas, usually you take them out of the pod. There are some peas, like snap peas, where there's snap peas and are there sugar peas? I can't remember. There's definitely snap peas where you can eat the pod and the inside as well. But often we just eat the inside. The peas are removed from the pod, which is the long outer case that contains the seed. And what did I say? I was going to explain two peas in a pod. If you say two people are like two peas in a pod, it's like they're very similar. Maybe your cousin, maybe he has a friend and they dress the same. They're the same height. They tell the same jokes. They laugh the same way. They love doing the same things. You would say that they are two peas in a pod. So two peas in a pod, people who are very, very similar to each other. Jacket. So a jacket is an outer covering that protects something. And the book has an artistic jacket. So you will know the word jacket from the article of clothing. When it's cooler outside, in the fall and in the spring, I usually wear a jacket. But you can also use this to talk about something like a book jacket. You can also put, if you remember the old records that you would play on a record player, they go into a sleeve, but sometimes people call it a jacket. So it's basically similar to this. It's something that protects something, an outer covering that protects something. There, it's right there in the definition. Hey, let's go to members only chat for 10 minutes. Let me get that turned on for all of the members here. Let me go to the settings, customization, members. There we go. It is members only chat time. If you don't know what members only chat is, please be patient. I will continue to answer questions from the forum, but I will also answer questions directly from members in the chat. So I'll get a question up on the screen. And if you want to know how do you become a member, you become a member if you want to support me with the work I do on YouTube. In exchange for you giving me a little bit of money, I give you some perks. One is a lesson plan on Mondays where you can be challenged to do different things to learn English during the week. You get an extra video on Wednesdays, which I released to everyone this past week, so you can get a glimpse of what a Wednesdays with Bob video looks like. You get your name in green during a live lesson every Friday and one Saturday per month. And you get to be part of members only chat, and you get a crown by your name in green and a crown by your name. So there we go. No, that says Bob and Bib are two peas in a pod. Just kidding. They are. And Bib, Bib's been helpful. Bib's been helping respond to comments. So that's why I can respond to so many comments, because Bib can type faster than me. By the way, Bib is a running joke. There is no Bib, if you're wondering. From Know That. Hey, Bob, what are you up to today and this weekend? Do you have anything special planned? Maybe going to a birthday party, a heartfelt thank you. I have two things to do today. I have to go pick up some shirts. Yes, for work. That's why I have to do that today. We have special shirt I have to get a shirt for work. Like it's logoized or whatever. And then I have to get my second shingles vaccine. If you don't know what shingles is, when you're past your 50s, you can get a horrible rash around the belly and armpit area. And there is a vaccine for it. So I got the first round 5 months ago, and I'm getting the second shot today. That's the plan for today. And then my brother, I will be seeing my brother this weekend. The brother that lives further away, he is down for the weekend. So I will be seeing him. From Mode is just talking to Julia. Yeah, because it could very well be wearing a jacket. There you go. Know that. How did the market go yesterday? Hope you and Jen had a nice time there and that sales went well. Did you treat yourself to something nice after calling it a day? Yes, I had 2 slices of pizza there's like someone who makes pizzas at market in a pizza oven, and I had an empanada, and I had half of a very yummy cookie because I'm trying not to eat sugar. Freddie Wolf, Bob, can twins be called 2 peas in a pod? Yes, definitely. Hafiez says shingles is no joke. SG Nadeau says shingles also called Zona 1, I believe, or Zona, I believe. Yeah, shingles is, I don't know the details. It's related to the chickenpox virus in some way, I think. And I wasn't going to get the shingles vaccine. I wasn't thinking about it, but actually a customer at market had shingles 2 or 3 years ago. And she just said it was horrible. So I thought I should just get it. That way I'll have at least some protection from it. Cy Sandy says, does jacket mean to cover something with one side open? Not necessarily. Usually a jacket, maybe that's part of it though. There's a jacket, when I put a jacket on, it wraps around me and it's open on the front, and a book jacket goes around the book. That might be part of it, yes. No, that says pizza, yes. Twins literally are 2 peas in a pod. They definitely are. From Judith, hi Bob, what kind of coating do you like the most on kitchenware? Thanks. I don't mind Teflon, but everything else we own I think is stainless steel and has no coating on it. So I don't mind a no-stick coating. Some people don't like them though, because I think they can cause problems. Mode says, you taught finish when you showed that wooden table. How's varnish different from that? So varnish is a type of finish. So in terms of finishes, there's urethane, polyurethane, varnish. Let me see here. Types of wood finish. I'm just searching for a sec. So varnish. Yeah, they're all defined the same. Varnish, a hard, clear, tinted protective coating. Lacquer, a hard, smooth finish. Polyurethane, a durable protective coating. There's also oil, wood oils. Shellac, a traditional clear protective coating. Sealer, a protective coating. Urethane, a protective coating. Clear coat, a transparent protective layer. So I can't remember, what did you say? Shellac? No, varnish. They're all just different ways of protecting wood. They are all different coatings mode. From Know That, Bob, could you shed some light on the expression to bounce ideas off someone and give some examples of how it is commonly used? When I visited Brent 2 years ago, we talked a lot about YouTube and teaching English on YouTube, and we bounced some ideas off each other. We talked about things that we could do to make our lessons better. So when you have an idea, if you share the idea with someone else and ask for feedback, and if then they do it as well, you are bouncing ideas off each other to make the idea better. And that was a good conversation, by the way. John Wedge, hey Bob, just so you know, thanks. You said like skin, rind, shell, husk, and crust. We say casca for most of them. And well, that's easier in Brazilian Portuguese. John Wedge says, as always, folks, don't forget to give a thumbs up. And next question from the queue from Hasham. Hi, Bob. Sir, what do you call a plastic which has bubbles we love to pop? We call it bubble wrap. And bubble wrap has two uses. It protects things when you ship them. So if you were going to send me something fragile, something that breaks easily, you would put bubble wrap around it. Bubble wrap is plastic with little air pockets, little bubbles. The second use of bubble wrap is to relieve stress by popping it. And if you want to do something fun, if you have a large piece of bubble wrap, you should walk on it. That is hilariously funny. We've done that at work before when things come in with lots of bubble wrap. Let's see here from Know That. Do you have a book you're currently reading, Bob? And is there one or even two you'd recommend putting on one's reading list? Thank you, sir. I do not currently have a book. I read the sample of a book called Mossed in Space, but I haven't bought it yet. It's about someone who buys a used spaceship, and there's moss in it, but little spoiler, the moss has become self-aware. I haven't bought it yet because I don't have time to read it, but that's what I might read next. Hafiez says, I bought my niece one of those bubble wrap toys, forgot what it's called. Oh, yes. Bridget, my friend had shingles in the face, on her head, and around her eyes. Yeah, you can see. Let's talk about a visceral reaction. If you don't know what a visceral reaction is, you just saw one. Bridget said shingles in the face, on her head, and around her eyes, and I went like this. A visceral reaction is like a physical, immediate reaction to something that is not pleasant. I'm going to get you the official definition here. And it's usually a very strong, immediate emotional and physical reaction that happens before you have time to think about it. So I read Bridget's book. I feel bad for your friend, but now you've all learned the term visceral reaction because you saw one. Wanda, hi, Teacher Bob. How do you call the tobacco protection of a cigar? Thanks. Probably a wrapper. I'm sure a cigar comes with a wrapper. I don't smoke cigars, so I don't know. But it's also probably in a box. Yes. Sample of a book using Kindle? Yes, Hafiez. Often I will read samples. It's one of the benefits of ebooks. Know That. Just out of curiosity, since it just crossed my mind, do you also have Cocoon on your list? Cocoon, is that the sci-fi movie? Is that what you're referring to? Cocoon, where there's a bunch of old people. I don't want to say anymore. Science fiction. You can kind of guess. I have not watched the movie or read the book. Okay, let me get another question on the screen. Alexander says, hi, Bob. I missed a word you used for a place where you keep empty boxes of electronics. I keep it in a separate small building. Can it be called a barn? I would call it a shed. If you have a small building separate from your house, or maybe beside your apartment building, outside, we would call that a shed. A shed is usually smaller than a room in a house, but big enough for you to be inside of it. I would definitely call that a shed. Judith, hi Bob. How many jackets have you used on your books since childhood? Thanks. So when I buy a book, if it has a jacket, I usually take it off because it bothers me. When I was a kid, we had to put paper jackets on all of our school books. The school required that you went and got some like brown paper, and you had to put a jacket on your book to protect it. That was when I was in elementary school. From Unabi, and then we'll get back to the lesson. Sphere shape is considered the most efficient for thermal distribution. That's why most heated buildings have cuboid form. Cube is the closest type of shape to a sphere. Ah, interesting. I did not know that. Good for thermal distribution. Know that. I've just finished reading the first Dark Tower book by Stephen King, and I'm now reading Andromeda by Andy Weir. Very cool. The Dark Tower series. Did I read those? Is that The Last Gunslinger? Is that the same thing, I think? I think I read the first or second one a long time ago. I didn't like the movie, though. It wasn't very good. I didn't watch the whole thing. Hafia, speaking of books, I'm collecting Stephen King books, 50th anniversary editions. Some of his earlier books are reaching 50 years old now. Wow, that's crazy. I believe Stephen King is from Maine. Brent, if you're still watching, you could let us know. I think so. I think he still lives there. I'm not 100% sure, though. Okay, I am going to turn off members only chat. We're going to go back to subscriber mode. I'm going to have a sip of water. No, that says, no, I meant the casing caterpillars have once they pupate a cocoon. Oh, no. Sorry. I totally misread that. I don't have that on my list, cocoon. A cocoon, when you have a caterpillar, and then there's a butterfly later, in the between stage, there is a cocoon. The caterpillar builds a cocoon and is in the cocoon for a little while and then comes out as a butterfly or a moth. Definitely one of the two. Okay, I had my sip of water. I turned off members only chat. I need to thank members. Thank you, members, for supporting the channel. It's very helpful. If you aren't aware, I have been saying that I need to buy a new computer for a very long time. And believe it or not, there is one. Old computer. It's actually 8 years old, but it still works. But as I start editing in 4K, it's very, very slow and it gets a lot of weird errors. So I did finally bite the bullet. There's a term for you. I did finally bite the bullet and buy a new computer. It's not hooked up yet. I'm waiting for a KVM switch so I can have both hooked up to the same keyboard and monitor for a month or so until the new one is completely ready to use. But yes, I did drop some money on that. But anyways, what was I saying? Oh, thank you, members, for supporting the channel. You allow me to buy the equipment I need to keep doing this, this work here on YouTube. Let's see. The limit length of the question form drives me up the wall. I will change that. I might have to make the box bigger, Unabi. I did that because sometimes people try to put 5 questions in one box, and then it's just too much for me. Hafiez says, know that, enjoy the book. I will not spoil, but just want to say it's one of the most satisfying endings. There you go. Okay, the lesson. Let's finish the lesson. Where are we at? Oh, we better get moving. Case. I think I've talked about this one before. A container or covering that protects something. I put a case on my new phone. By the way, did you know my phone is blue? So a funny story. My daughter broke her phone. So I sold her my phone used without realizing that the color I like to buy, which is black, wasn't available. So I had to buy this violet, light purple, I guess. I had to buy this light purple one. That was last year. So, but yeah, I like black. It's my favorite non-color. Is it a color? I put a case on my new phone, a container or covering that protects something. Cover, something that goes over an object to protect or hide it. We put a cover over the pool table. Always a good idea. Keeps the pool table nice and new looking. You can put a cover over a barbecue. If you have a really nice sports car or antique or classic car, you might put a cover over it to protect it. But a cover is something that goes over an object to protect or hide it. Breading, a layer of breadcrumbs that covers food before it's cooked. The chicken was yummy. The chicken has yummy, crispy breading. You will sometimes hear this referred to as a coating as well. But if you do want to make I mean, chicken tastes pretty good by itself, but if you want to make it tastier, you could put a breading on it. So breadcrumbs, salt, maybe some pepper and other spices, some egg to make it stick. Breading a layer of breadcrumbs that covers food before it is cooked. I should talk about batter as well. So breading is less. Usually batter is put over fish or chicken before you deep fry it in hot oil, whereas breading might be something you put on it before you bake it in an oven. A sheath, a very hard word to say. Are you ready? Sheath. It has two of the sounds that some English learners find challenging, sh and th. So sheath, a protective covering that fits closely around something. So here you see he put the pruning saw back in its sheath. There are two objects here. The saw is obviously the shiny one with the sharp teeth on it. And then the black thing is the sheath. That is the protective covering that fits closely around something. Usually to keep it protected, but to also protect people from it. Like if you have a hunting knife, you put it in a sheath because then you are protected from the sharp edge. Fur, the thick hair that covers the bodies of many animals. The dog's fur is soft and warm. He is also cute. So this is a cute dog that has thick hair that covers the body of the animal. Fur. Someone once asked me what's the difference between for and fur. Like this water is for me. It's for me. That dog has fur. But when English speakers speak quickly, sometimes for sounds like fur. Like this water is for me. Did you hear that? This water is for me to drink. I bought a present for my mom. So for sometimes sounds like fur. Feathers, the soft, light things that form an outer covering that grows on birds. I actually didn't know how to write this definition. Most of the definitions I research online and find the definition from a dictionary, and then I often rewrite it just a little bit to be simpler and easier to understand. But I didn't know what to call feathers other than feathers, so I called them things. The peacock feathers are beautiful. Feathers, the soft, light things that form an outer covering that grows on birds. Scales. Let's make this even bigger. The small, hard pieces that cover a fish. The fish has tiny, shiny scales. A little mini rhyming pair in the middle there. The fish has tiny, shiny scales. So you can see here scales overlap. So when something lays on top of something else, like the tiles on a roof or shingles on a roof. By the way, there's two meanings of shingles now. Shingles on a roof or scales. They overlap each other slightly. So scales, the small, hard pieces that cover a fish. Skin. We did this one and we talked about grapes, but this is referring to humans and animals. Skin, the natural outer covering of humans and some animals. I don't know if you have nettles in your area, but my skin was really itchy yesterday after I touched the nettles. We have nettles on our property. I didn't touch them yesterday. I know better. But nettles are a plant with tiny, tiny thorns. Like they're kind of sharp. And if you touch it, your skin gets all itchy and little bumps on it. When I was a kid, I touched the nettles. And then my hand actually did look like this. Anyway, skin, the natural outer covering of humans and some animals. Outer layer. It's a general term. The outer layer, the layer that is on the outside of something that has more than one layer. Here we have, I removed the outer layer of the onion. If you watched my lesson earlier this week on talking about clothing and how people dress, I was dressed in layers for winter weather. When you dress in layers, it's nice because you can remove the outer layer if you get too warm. So anytime you have layers around something, the very outer layer is called the outer layer. Nice job, Bob. The layer that you can see is called the outer layer. This onion has many layers, And so you can remove the outer layer of the onion. That's the end of the formal part of the lesson. Let me do some questions and we will be done in just a moment. I have 4 questions left from Ferdinando. Hi, Bob. I'd like to know if you have private classes. I do not. I have chosen to not do that. My joy in doing this right now is in creating things for people to watch, things for people to read. I've been having fun making polls and quizzes as well and posting pictures. Doing one-on-one English lessons, I would find that enjoyable, but I do still have a job teaching in a classroom. And so someday, if I am semi-retired or retired, and I'm no longer teaching students in a school, I might start to do that. But right now, I have no plans to do that type. Hunabi, is there any possibility to increase the length of the question form? Little fix. I always struggle to put most of my questions into it. Thanks, Mr. Bob. Maybe that's why you left the word the out. Maybe there wasn't room. I will look into that. I think right now, I'm not sure what the limit is. But yes, I will do that because people can now ask multiple questions. So maybe it will stop the multiple questions in one form. From question, are there coconut trees in Canada? No, maybe in a greenhouse, but as far as I know, there are not. From Judith, hi, Bob. Interestingly, we had to put a brown paper jacket onto our books and exercise books in school. We have the same custom things. I don't know if students do it now. I think the school might actually put like a plastic coating or a plastic jacket on. But yes, when I was a kid, we would actually use old grocery bags because you got these heavy brown paper grocery bags. We would use those to do it. It worked really well. Hey, I think that's the last question. Yes, that's the last question. In the chat, Hafia says, oh, that was a little loud. In the chat. Hafia says, peacocks are males, peahens are the females, peafowls are the names of the species. Haha, I always share this info randomly. And then tagging Unabi, because Unabi gives us lots of good random facts. Gaeta says, I didn't know nettles grow in Canada. Now I know how to say in English about this grass from my childhood. Yes, nettles. I think you can make tea out of them. I'm asking the search engine. Stinging nettles do grow in Canada, in Ontario. And yes, you can use the tea to make the nettles to make tea. I don't think I would drink it. I don't know if I would like that. No, that says, I'm going to start this method. No, that says, thank you very much for the great lesson, Bob. Wishing you and your family a lovely Friday and a fantastic weekend. Take good care of yourself. Best wishes to Jen and the kids. You are welcome. You are very, very welcome. And that's it, everyone. It's 9:22. A couple things before you go. This lesson will come out in a shorter version in a couple days. You should listen to it again if you have time. It will have subtitles that are generated but are fairly accurate, like 99% accurate. So there might be sections you might want to watch again with the subtitles on. Other than that, it makes for a good review and repetition or a repeat of what you have heard today, and that will help you remember. That's it. New video Tuesday, live lesson next Friday, live lesson next week Saturday, not tomorrow. Next week Saturday will be September 5th. Yes. So I'll be doing a live lesson. I don't teach next week yet. I just have meetings, so I should have lots of time. Mode says this was an awesome lesson inside and out. You're welcome. I'm glad you enjoyed it. In my self-proclaimed goal years ago, I don't want to teach the cool lessons. I want to teach all the lessons. So I'm always on the lookout for words and phrases that I can group together to make a nice set of vocabulary. So I'm glad everyone appreciated it. I'm just going to say bye to people now. Bye to Gaeta, Helena, Sophia, Unabi, SG Nadeau, Wanda Prado. Hi, Wanda. Sophia, did I say Sophia? Sophia again, John Wedge, Mode Eggs, Freddie Wolf, Know That, Judith, or otherwise known as Aerosmith77, Key Park. Let me scroll back. If you chat, it's easier for me to remember you're here. think I said Unabi, Uliana, Kerwin, and I will now just say bye to people who say bye to me. Ivy University is here. Hafiez, of course. John Wedge. If you're wondering if I forgot your name, no, I'm just scrolling back till I see your name. Bye to Freddie Wolf, Arthur, and everyone else. Bye to Bridget. Thanks for the great lesson. Now I'm on vacation in Alberta and BC. Well, enjoy. Those are nice provinces to visit. Bye to Running Tiger, Cy Sandy, H Hash, Luis Fernando, Natalia, and Michael Holman. I think I got everybody. I think I can now safely click the button that plays the music.